The order of the meeting, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, adoption of the agenda.
Romano adopts the agenda.
Support Van Sickle.
Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Item number 4, approve the minutes dated February the 13th, 2025.
So move.
Support.
Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Item number 5, public participation. This is the first opportunity anyone in the public wish to speak on anything that's on the agenda. There'll be an opportunity later in the later in the meeting to speak on anything of your free will. Anyone wish to speak on the agenda items only? One more time, we'll close public participation. Item number 6, this is Public Service Department recommendations. That we have a budget amendment here for planning and economic development. Michigan Strategic Fund of 14.0, implementation grant of $245,000. Vicki, you have the floor.
Thank you, Commissioners. So this is an amendment.
Chair,
Make the
I'd like to make a
motion
motion
to
to forward to full board.
Board first. Now you can speak.
Now I can speak. This is an amendment to our current budget that we received a grant through the Michigan Strategic Fund for Industry 4.0 initiative. And so this is us receiving an additional $245,000 to support those efforts to get new technology into the hands of our manufacturers.
No speakers? Please vote. Yeah, very easy, Vicki, very easy.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, under items 6B, C, D, and E, I'd like to consolidate together. Brian?
Motion to recommend to full board.
Support.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item 6B is seeking approval of a contract with Z Contractors Incorporated. This is for the 18-mile road over Plumbrook Drain Bridge Rehabilitation Project. You had previously seen a cost share before you. This is the actual contract for the work to be done. This is a 50-50 local agency project with the city. So the split would be half of 1.375 million approximately. Item 6C is a cost share agreement. This was previously presented. It was dated January 24th, 2025, which was earlier in the year. There was an adjustment that needed to be made for the overall total cost of the project, which adjusted the percentages for design, construction costs. So the city is aware of this adjustment, and they wanted to see the cost share revised to reflect the appropriate cost for the project, which went from $201,970,000 to $403,939. Item 6D is a contract for bridge management services. We submitted a RFQ for services to be provided for our bridge management. We selected 2 firms, Great Lakes Engineering Group and Spicer Group. So every other year we get our bridge inventory, which is about 240 bridges, evaluated on a biannual basis. That is a requirement that we have to follow. And they did change the basis of the scoring and requirements for that analysis. So we do that external, we don't do that internally. I hope to get to a point where we can have enough staff and resources to do that internally. But right now we're doing that as a hired external cost. So seeking approximately $175,000 worth of anticipated costs for Great Lakes Engineering Group and Spicer Group for our bridge management services. Item 6E is a resolution 2025-13148. This is a resolution approving submission of safe routes to school application for anchor-based schools in Macomb County. They're seeking a $2 million grant funding for this in their community, and just want to be showing our support as a department and as a county for their requests for this monies. So I'll entertain any questions.
Commissioner Goki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Santos. On D for the contracts for, the bridge inspections. So it's basically like $500 a piece. How extensive of a inspection does that do? Do they take core samples on the structure itself, or is this just all visual, recordings and then brought to you and you guys decide on which bridges are priorities off of the information they give you, or do they make assessments on, and then decrease on weight limits? Who does all that?
We require and are relying on the external services that are provided. I believe there's 35 or 40 different metrics that they look at, both physical and visual, for each bridge on a biannual basis. So we use that to base our condition and our submittals for our bridge program. So we know what our inventory is, the condition of it, and what it's rated. The bridge deck, the beams, the abutments, all the different parts of the bridge that make it up. We know the status of that biannually. So when we do our bridge requests for projects, we know which ones are maybe in the critical or serious category versus load posted. Some bridges are load posted because of the deterioration and condition. Other ones aren't load posted, but they might need some rehabilitation work. So this is required, but this is what we're looking at doing external.
And also, this is straight just county road bridges and no trunk line bridges or other municipality bridges, just the county.
This is our jurisdictional bridges within Macomb County on our roadways.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian,
Good afternoon.
obviously incredibly excited and supportive of Anchor Bay's submission. I know Chair Sabatini is on that resolution. I would like to be added if that's possible or if it's even necessary, but I'd like to if that's okay. Going back to item D, quick question. You mentioned kind of manpower and resources for us to do this internally, eventually, maybe one day. What does that look like? What would that take for us to be able to take that over internally?
I'm sure we'll take additional staff members. We're kind of restructuring internally currently to have that housed under one engineer as far as our bridge asset management program. So that's a big project. Now, taking on 240 bridges biannually, that's a heavier lift that we just don't have the staffing resources to accommodate right now. Some neighboring counties do have the staffing and then do it internally. I'd say it's split between different counties within the state as far as internal and external support. But I know Scott Wannigat, my county highway engineer that runs engineering, is looking at different avenues in the future to make budgetary considerations for staffing for that.
Well, we look forward to hearing them once you guys put that together.
We won't be shy to present them.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Brian.
Definitely.
18 Mile, the bridge. I assume they're going to have to shut down 18 Mile.
No, we'll work under traffic. It kind of be like the 21 Mile Road Bridge we just did west of North Avenue. That we did different repairs to, but they will predominantly be able to do most of the work under flag control or one-way direction. They might have to, if there's involved, which I'd have to look into the specifics. If we do have an epoxy coating, that would have to be closed maybe for an extended weekend, but nothing extended closure for a
I
distance.
realize 17
duration.
Mile is not a county road.
No, it
You
is
did
not.
not do that bridge between Van Dyke and Dodge Park Roads.
17 is not
That
ours.
seemed to have taken forever. And they had the whole road shut down for a very, very long time.
Yeah, this is not a replacement. This is a rehabilitation. So
Okay, good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Brian. Quick question in regards to the contract with Z Contractors for
Yes.
the 18-mile project. Did we bid that out?
Yes.
Did we receive the bid package on that, or just like the summary in regards to how the bids turned out? Because I don't see it in the package.
You should have. If not, I can get that forwarded to you.
That would be great, as long as we have it by Tomorrow. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll ensure that, Sue, actually, I have a new administrative assistant, Marcy, Gurecki. My administrative assistant retired on me, so, we're getting her up to speed, but I'll have, her send it over.
No problem at all. And certainly Commissioner Kraft will add you into that resolution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Howard?
Hey, Brian, you're my favorite person in all of Macomb County to talk to, so definitely have 20 questions for you, but I'll just go with 2 today.
Okay.
I spent part of my day in Oakland County today, actually at their Board of Commissioners meeting, and on the drive back, noticed that, especially along 696, I'm not sure if this is a county issue, but I know you have connections with MDOT. The roads and the sides of the highway and everything, and on the on-ramps, clean on Oakland County side. You cross over into Macomb, it's a genuine night and day difference. About 6 residents actually called me and asked me about that. And then I just saw it today myself. And I don't know if that's something, I don't know who is responsible for cleaning up the trash that's on the side of the highway. But getting off the highway it was just pretty bad on our side.
So you're talking the condition of the roadway or the trash?
The trash.
Okay.
The trash. I think last week there was crews on the Oakland County side cleaning up the trash on the side of the highway. I'm just not sure who's responsible for that, if that's a county or is that the state?
It's typically a state, the service roads are typically state jurisdiction, but I will check with our service maintenance staff to see if that's something that we.
Any reason why they stopped at the county line for that cleanup?
I don't know if Oakland County does it as part of their state maintenance contract. That's what I'll check with our maintenance crews. Yep, as far as trash. Condition would be based on, we'll service it. We have a state maintenance contract for various state roads. But as far as actual reconstruction or heavy maintenance, that would have to be a state project, an MDOT project for condition of roadway.
Okay, thank you so much. And then I know the federal deadline is coming up to submit requests in regards to infrastructure projects or anything through our congressional offices. Do you know if those have been submitted? Because I believe the deadline is actually tomorrow or Friday.
We're fielding a lot of requests from communities for support letters, which we are turning around and getting back to the communities. We do have our own that we have as far as, obviously we're looking for the south portion of Mound. We're looking at the bridge on Metro Parkway between Mound and Van Dyke over the railroad as heavier lifts and needs that we need support for, yes.
Okay, gotcha. If you need any extra encouragement for support letters, I will personally call all of them 20 times till they sign on for it. So
Great, thank you, Commissioner.
thank you.
No other commissioners, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 7A, Macomb Work Zone Lane Closure and Construction Updates, March of 2025. Motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Support.
Please vote. It gives me great pleasure to turn the meeting over to Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think you set a record today. Between you and Mr. Santo, I think you set a record up today, and he's gone already.
Sorry, I held that one up.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start the Records and Public Safety Committee Department recommendation. Item A is a contract with Fifth Coast Recovery LLC, Supportive Housing Residential Treatment Services Agreement. It's for $116,000 for year one, $200,000 for subsequent years. We have Director Ms. Caskey, our Community Corrections lady. Ms. Caskey, please. I need a motion to move this to full board first.
Motion by Zinner.
Support, Perna.
I have a motion by Commissioner Zinner, supported by
Perna.
Commissioner Perna. Go ahead,
Good
Director.
afternoon. Barb Caskey from Community Corrections, here today to request approval of the contract with Fifth Coast Recovery to provide supportive housing for those who require additional support through case management and a more structured transitional living environment in the amount of $116,000
for the remainder of this year and $200,000 for subsequent contract years. Fifth Coast was the chosen proposal through the RFP process, and this service would be targeting those with co-occurring mental health and substance use disorder needs, both from the community and those transitioning from incarceration back to the community. Funding is available and was designated in the 2025 budget through the opioid settlement fund.
We have some questions from some commissioners. Commissioner Howard.
On here, I see that there were two bidders, Fifth Coast and Live Right.
Yes.
Can you explain why you chose Fifth Coast over Live Right? Because we don't have any of that in our information unless I missed it.
There should have been, they were very similar proposals. The biggest difference was the per month cost through Live Right was about $15,000 a month per individual, and the cost through Fifth Coast was $1,550 per month. So it was an extreme price difference between the two.
Okay. From what I understand, between these two organizations, that Live Right offers more wraparound services and to the family, and so I know the cost per individual is different, is
Sure.
substantially higher.
Yeah.
But from everything that I've been able to research and call around and ask, is that Live Right actually offers substantially more services, and so with that, if someone offers more services, their bid should be higher. I'm trying to understand, like, what was the decision making or the defining difference between the two?
Sure. With the price that Live Right was requesting through their proposal, we would have only have been able to have placed about 3 individuals a year with the budget that we had for this particular program. So we needed larger capacity, and Fifth Coast does have a working relationship with a lot of individuals as well as Live Right. They work with them on some programs as well. So they do have a plan in place to provide those services. I know that Live Right has more of an existing relationship in the community with a lot of those other outside entities, and we would have loved to have been able to work with them as well, but because of the price, it would have limited the capacity so much that it really wouldn't have been even worth the service.
Right. So how many people is Fifth Coast able to serve?
For an average stay of 90 days, we're looking at about 30 clients for the rest of this year and 45 per year after that.
Okay. And is that 90 days through the court order?
Not necessarily, no. This is a referral that could be made for individuals who just need more supportive housing, something a little bit higher level than a transitional housing environment or a traditional transitional housing environment would provide. So it could come from someone being a client through MACOSA, the Macomb County Office of Substance Abuse. They can refer direct to this program through this contract, as well as those individuals going straight from incarceration to community, or from incarceration to residential treatment and then into this service.
Gotcha. I'll defer to my other commissioners. It's hard to, we have to vote yes or no on this item, and I just don't know that I have enough information behind it. But I'll pass it along to the next folks.
All set, Commissioner?
For now, yeah.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Barb.
Hi.
Have we worked with this Fifth Coast Recovery before?
MACOSA does. They contract with them for their women's specialty housing program. And we did have a consultation with them regarding the services that they've received from them and the relationship that they have with them so far. And they were very positive about, the relationship that they've had.
So you haven't worked with them?
We haven't worked with them directly. MACOSA has.
Okay. And secondly, it says funding is available through the opiate settlement fund.
Yes.
Is it going to come out of that fund?
Yes.
Because Michael asked, Commissioner Howard is constantly asking, what are we using the opioid fund for?
Yes, it absolutely will come out of that. And we have several programs that we are spending funding out of that, the opioid settlement fund, beginning last year, currently this year, and then we're working on several other projects as well.
Thank you. Keep us abreast of that, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Barb.
Hi.
Does Community Corrections currently have a contract like this, or is this brand new because of the opioid funds?
This is with the opioid funds. We have providers that we work with that are more traditional transitional housing providers. But that's really, they're going there, they're providing them a place to live. some meal assistance, things like that, a little bit of supervision. The case management piece is not involved in that. They're not working with their behavioral health and medical providers. They're not providing transportation assistance at the level that this would. We'd also be working with employment readiness and job search with this as well. So it's much different.
Okay. And then kind of looking at the timeline of this, I mean, it kind of butts up to when the CIAC should be up, maybe running. We'll see how, fingers crossed. Is this kind of like a trial run feel for potentially carrying over to that project as well?
Yes, the hope is with all of that is that as we're able to assess individuals at an earlier stage in the process, that we'll be able to determine a better fit for them if they are to be transitioned into the community, what programming they would need.
Great. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Zinner, please.
Thank you, Chair. Barb, you're always ready for anything thrown at you, and I appreciate all the knowledge you have and your expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Howard isn't through yet. Commissioner Howard.
Does this meet the need?
Yes.
And where's the housing for this at? Like, what city is it in? Located?
It is in Clinton Township, I believe is the address. It was a former transitional house that was ran by another company. Fifth Coast acquired it and they're doing renovations on it now. I believe those are almost done.
Okay. Do they offer services outside of the direct individuals? So like with family, or necessarily like one of the issues when people are transitioning out, they might have children or things like that. And I know our Head Start program helps with that somewhat, but does Fifth Coast actually address that need as well as caring for the family?
There is what we consider family reentry piece to it, so that they're engaging the client with the family if they should choose to do that. Through their women's specialty program, they do allow children to be housed with the mothers in those houses, and we would be able to refer to them outside of this contract, but into that program as if we saw a need for that as well. This particular program would not allow children to stay at the home.
Okay, last question, and it could be in here, and I might have just missed it. Is there peer-to-peer coaching associated with this as well?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
What's that, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Seeing no other speakers, I have a motion in support. Please vote. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. We'll go to item B, which is intergovernmental agreement amendment, Washington Township Regional Dispatch Services for $122,625. We have our Director of Dispatch, Angela Elsey. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hall, supported by Commissioner Lucido. And Director, you're up.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Washington Township Fire Department is one of the fire departments that we provide full-time dispatch services for at Comtech. And they have recently purchased a new records management system through our current vendor, Tyler Technologies, with whom the county holds that service agreement with. Our intergovernmental agreement for regional dispatch services with Washington Township includes the maintenance and support costs pertaining to the Tyler Technologies contract that Washington Township contributes. So with the purchase of their new records management system, the township is actually reducing its annual maintenance contribution to the county's Tyler Technologies contract overall. And therefore, our intergovernmental agreement must be amended to reflect the amount of annual maintenance that the township remits to the county. I'll take any questions.
Seeing no speakers, I have a motion in support. Please vote. Thank you, Director.
Commissioner Bueno, the system didn't capture your vote. If you'd like to voice vote. Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. We'll move to item C, which is a contract, Rite of Passage Incorporated, contract for non-residential treatment services, $698,880. We have the Division Administrator, Nicole Falls, here. I need a motion to recommend this to full board, please.
Support Zinner.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kraft, supported by Commissioner Zinner, and we have Ms. Falls, the Juvenile Division Administrator, with company.
With company. This is Dave Joseph. He's the Juvenile Program Director So he's here to help me answer any questions you may have.
Go ahead.
All right, for some background, on October 1st of 2024, juvenile justice reform legislation took effect. This legislation included an expansion to the Child Care Fund to provide funding to counties to incentivize and support the development, expansion, and strengthening of community-based services and formal alternatives to detention and incarceration. Funding for community-based interventions was increased from 50% reimbursement from the state to 75% reimbursement. We're asking for your approval of a contract with Rite of Passage to operate an intensive community-based program called Rite Care. This program uses evidence-based interventions with youth that include tutoring, recreation, life skills, community service, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Eligible youth are at risk of being placed in detention or residential placement. The program will accommodate up to 16 youth at a time. Programming will take place Monday through Friday after school into the evening at the juvenile court over in the old county building, and then transition to the Mount Clemens YMCA for some recreation. This programming was included in the approved fiscal year 25 Child Care Fund budget.
Well, I have a motion in support, and I don't think we need the gentleman with you. Oh, we do have a question here. Did you come up?
Thank you, Chair. Did I hear in your statement that the juveniles could be released or placed into residential detention?
So we have a continuum of care. We have community-based services. We have, the Juvenile Justice Center for short-term detention, and then youth that are at high risk and have serious public safety concerns could be placed in a residential facility, and we pay a per diem.
Define residential facility.
We have facilities all over Michigan and all over the country where they would be sent to, and they would reside there for a period of time, typically 6 to 9 months. And we pay a per diem while they receive treatment in a residential facility.
And that's supervised?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all I have, Chair.
Sure. Any other speakers? Nothing showing. I have a motion in support. Please vote. Did somebody want to speak? I heard a ahem. No? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
Motion passes 11-1. Commissioners are voting no.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item D, which is a purchase from Stafford-Smith-Groen jail kettle for $48,951.99. We have Captain Gornicki, who's going to make a presentation. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
Motion made.
Who made the motion? Commissioner Howard, supported by?
Team Warren.
Oh, Commissioner Wayno, I'm sorry. Okay. Captain Gornicki, you're up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to request the purchase of a gas kettle for the Macomb County Jail Kitchen from Stafford-Smith Incorporated in the amount of $48,951.99. The Macomb County Jail Kitchen currently uses 5 60-gallon gas kettles, which are essential in the daily food preparation for our inmate population. This kettle purchase would replace the oldest kettle in the fleet, which was installed in 2014. The kettle has outlived its expected lifespan, and frequent repair costs indicate replacement is necessary. This kettle purchased from Stafford-Smith is for a Groen model DH60C. This particular model would be consistent with the kettles currently in service, and the purchase cost includes delivery, installation, and warranty. Funding is available in the Appropriations Cost Center, Capital Outlay Expense / Equipment, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
I have a couple, and then I see there's commissioners that have questions also. You know, if you were as big as Captain Briney, we wouldn't ask you that, because he's a pretty big guy, so we don't understand. So I took the liberty, and please believe me when I tell you, I do not micromanage. But I took the liberty of calling this company up in wherever at Kalamazoo, they got places all over the United States.
Sure.
Now, as recent as 2019, we bought 4 of those kitchen kettles.
Correct.
This guy tells me these things, he's had these kettles in some schools since 1960. Now, we're looking to replace one for $49,000. All he said to me, and again, I talked to Craig, I guess that's the guy that's doing this, and he says to me, well, the reason we need the parts, and I said, we got $49,000 worth of parts, so you're telling me the kettles are good, but we might have to replace the parts. You're telling me to replace the kettles, and I'm questioning is, where are we at here? This guy tells me one thing, I'm listening to you, and I believe you before I believe him. What's the problem with the kettles?
Yeah, so I looked at the repair costs for 2024, and we spent just over $7,800 in repair costs, burners, fittings, things of that nature. I have another repair estimate sitting on my desk from last week. They want an additional $5,300 to replace the gearbox. It's a mechanical gear. All the gears are stripped. It's just from frequency of use since 2014.
So I'm questioning this, he said there's two other companies here, Groen and Vulcan. I don't see the bids in here from from those companies.
Yeah, no, the pricing was checked for the Vulcan. It's the lesser model. It's about 50,000 BTU less, and the warranty doesn't appear to be as strong. And that particular model is actually $5 higher than the Stafford-Smith quote for the Groen 60C model.
You know, with all due respect, we had Laura Rios here from the Veterans Administration regarding some media advertisement that she said the grant she was receiving was rescinded to all these things that are going on. And my statement to her was, well, I think we better get a little more aggressive when we go out for bids and quit accepting bids just as they stand. These companies are suffering just as we are. And if you know, I believe in the old cliche, if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And $49,000 for a kettle, after what I've heard from this gentleman, there's a lot of stuff involved with that particular kettle. That's why the cost is being stainless steel, having inside liner. I went through the whole thing with them. So my statement is, and I'm going to prove this as far as I'm concerned, but my statement is we got to be a little more aggressive, and I'm saying this as a general statement. Anybody comes into my committee that tells me they want to spend money, they better tell me that, listen, I've talked to the people, I've told them we'll pay them less, and they're not going to accept it. And I'm going to look at Mr. Forlini there, who just saved us a ton of money by doing exactly that, by not accepting a 2% increase or 3% increase, 5%, he turned it down. And they came back with another price. So I say this to you, not you particular, but to all of the division directors who's coming before this committee, you better come up with some ideas of how you're going to save us some money other than just going ahead and saying we're going to accept the price. Sorry, I don't mean to get on a soapbox with you. I wouldn't do it with Brian, he's too big. Commissioner Sabatini, I'm sorry, Chair Sabatini, please.
Thank you, Chair. My only question is actually the funding source for this. So we don't have, this is what's in the request, the C272.0001 appropriations. That fund does not exist. So we would need to know exactly where it's coming from.
That's what I was told the number was.
If it's in the capital plan specifically, then we would need a budget amendment to move it from the general fund to the capital plan. So right now, I just don't see where it's coming out of the budget. So if you can get us that answer by tomorrow, that's fine by me. I'll support it today to just move forward.
Got it.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I have Commissioner Howard, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Howard, I got somebody in front of you. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. The installation includes the removal and disposal of the old kettle?
Yes, actually going to see if I can use it for spare parts just in case we need it, because we would have 5 kettles that are that same model.
Okay, so there's no additional costs?
Correct.
This is the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Howard.
One question related, one not, sorry. What's the warranty difference? You said the other company had a lesser warranty, and what's the warranty difference?
Lesser model, lesser warranty, wasn't as strong. But I saw that the 50,000 BTUs less on that Vulcan model, and then they offer a 1-year parts warranty, whereas this one also includes a 10-year hemisphere warranty.
I don't understand what a hemisphere warranty is. Can you explain that?
Basically the bowl that everything cooks in.
Okay. Okay. Completely unrelated question. Do we, and just forgive my ignorance, if there's like an emergency in the community where you guys service, like Mount Clemens is an example, a medical emergency, we transport those in our EMS as a county, correct?
Okay, Commissioner Howard, I wish we'd just stick to the agenda item, please, and then bring that up at a future date if you would like.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. Commissioner Perna.
Captain, you were hesitant on repairing the kettle for X $1,000. with repair, does it come with a warranty?
No. I don't know of any warranty. We spent just over $7,800 in repairs last year alone, and the most recent repair quote is for $5,300 to have the gearbox reworked.
So with the repair, what do you project the longevity on the Kettle then?
Honestly, it seems like it's one thing after the next. Every month, every other month, we're paying for a repair for something on this kettle.
Can I jump in here if I may, Commissioner Perna?
Yes.
When I spoke to the gentleman at this particular company, it's 1 year, but after that, you're on your own. And these kettles have gone way beyond the 1 year. So after that, the warranty's gone. Just thought I would jump in and mention that if I may. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All set? Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to suggest to you, Captain, next time you have Captain Doherty come up here, we got 47 vehicles approved last year with less dialogue than you're having over the Kettle. Just saying.
It's not as fancy as.
Call him Captain Brisky. It's supposed to be Doherty. Excuse me. I apologize.
That's all I have, Chair.
You guys look a little alike, you know.
Yeah.
Very little.
All this over the
I'm sorry. I see no other speakers. So we have a motion in support. Please vote. Thanks, Cap.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item E is a budget amendment, election resiliency grant reimbursement from state for election security, $30,800. And we have the pleasure of having our county clerk, register of deeds man, Mr. Forlini here. I need a motion to recommend this to full board. I heard it. Mr. Goyke. Commissioner Lucido. Motion by Commissioner Goyke, supported by Commissioner Lucido. And we have clerk, Mr. Forlini, you are up.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners, Chairman.
Excuse me, did we thank you for that 5% thing that you changed? We did it in a general meeting, but did we thank you personally for that savings? And if
No,
not,
I haven't seen
I'll
you
do so
since.
now.
Thank you.
That's right, that's what he should get it. First guy
You know,
that said, no, we won't take the money.
I'm glad
we'll
they
do-"
didn't show you the video. I was on vacation when I saw my phone and I got the message that they're willing to, it wasn't just 5%, it was 5% a year for 3 years. And, man, I was on the beach kicking up sand, and I sent the video back because Brian Burdick bet me they would not change that quote.
And they did.
Bet me lunch. So I still haven't.
Go ahead.
Haven't collected yet. So with it, Commissioners, with this is when I came on board, learning a little bit about, you know, the tabulators and how they work and the sticks that go with them from ES&S and the security behind that. And one of the things I discovered early on was there's actually 2 spots on the tabulators that you go vote in. One's in the back and the one's right up on top locked in. And I had mentioned to Mike, you know, is there some way we can get more sticks? Because, I mean, I'd like to have some backup, you know, with all the things with elections. We want to make sure our elections are secure. And there wasn't anything till now. And this is what this grant is all about, is we're spending this money. It's going to all your communities, providing that second stick that would go into the back of the tabulators and provide redundancy so that if something happens with the first one, we have a second backup already in the machine. They say, well, you know, how often is that going to happen? Well, in the 2024 election, November, it happened twice. We had 2 communities bring their sticks in, and they were corrupted, and we couldn't load up the results. So what did that mean? That clerk had to go back to their office at 1 in the morning, and they had to rerun all those ballots and on that tabulator. So, you know, time spent and, you know, a little insecurity there. Oh boy, what's going on? What's happening? So this is going to provide that redundancy so that if something like that should happen, they have that second stick to bring in and report up the score. So that's what this is all about. And Mike did some calls, and some communities do have a second stick already. Not all of them do. So this provides that extra bit that we need. And it's provided with a grant, so. Any questions?
We love you, clerk. I see no questions. We have a motion in support.
Getting a little emotional here.
Please vote.
Guys are so caught up on that kettle.
Mine didn't come up in the CS code.
I wonder why that
passes
corn is
12-0.
so expensive.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Thank you. Michael, nice to see you. Moving on to item F, which is an intergovernmental agreement, Clinton Township Emergency Management Program. This is no cost to the county. I have our director, Brandon Lewis here, who's the Director of Emergency Management and Communications. I need a motion to recommend this to full board,
So
please.
move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall, supported by Commissioner Perna. Mr. Lewis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good
I am
afternoon.
here this afternoon seeking approval of an intergovernmental agreement between the county and Clinton Township for the township to join the county's emergency management program. Under state law, communities of a certain size have the option to have their own emergency management program. Clinton Township has availed themselves of that option since 1991. They have decided to go the other direction and to join the county's program and to appoint us as their emergency management coordinator of record. The specific provision in the Emergency Management Act is that communities over 25,000 in population can either appoint their own emergency management coordinator or can appoint the county's coordinator as their coordinator. So they are availing themselves of the second option. The agreement before you today simply spells out and delineates the relationship between the county and the township for them being a part of our emergency management program.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good deal for Clinton Township. Now, you say there's no cost to the county. Is there some money coming with this from the township?
No, there is not. That has never been the practice anywhere in the state that I know of. We have, with Clinton Township, we will now have 9 communities over 25,000 that are a part of our emergency management program, and they will become the 9th. We have 8. We have 8 currently. That is not a service that we charge for, and it in past practice it never has been.
I'm okay with not charging for it, but there's no cost to the county at all, even though you're going to cover another township.
So there are certain tasks that our staff will obviously have to take on in doing this. I do not anticipate that they will be outside of the bounds of the resources that we currently have available.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Perna, please.
Did Clinton Township, did they have a budget when they had their own management?
Yes, they did. They had a part-time individual who was filling this role.
So that employee just lost their job?
No, that employee retired.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Brenda, I have some more people here. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I know you just said that the costs are, I guess, acceptable or fine. But aren't you working with, could you use more staff? Didn't we drop someone for you recently?
No.
A year ago or so?
No, we did not.
Or you didn't get someone that you would like to have had?
No. No, I've not had a staffing request turned down by the board. In fact, we had a position added in our budget, I believe, in 2022.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Goyke, please.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner and Leader. Thank you. How many full-time employees are in the staff right now for the emergency management program?
So
Underneath your direction, how many people you got?
full-time employees, I believe we have 22 budgeted full-time employees, but they're spread across several functions. We have our traditional emergency management functions, I believe that's 8. We have our school safety section, which has a full-time employee. We have full-time employees dedicated to grant management, and then we also have oversight of the radio communication system, and that's 8 full-time employees.
Okay, I want to commend you. I mean, in this even in this lifetime now, I've been part of the Armada Fair for years. So I set up the program with Charlie C. Hayes 30 years ago, and it's very comprehensive, and there was never any additional charges at that time. These people were just on the payroll, and then it all became all-encompassing on everything, and it's just a matter of plugging in the dots is that's probably a fair way. That's why you have no cost increase when you add in the other communities, because of my experience working with your department. That's how I feel rest assured on how it works, and the people are already on the payroll. So I feel very comfortable in supporting that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Brandon. How many communities in Macomb County are still doing their own emergency management?
As of this action, Warren will be the last one.
Warren would be.
Yes.
Okay. So that could be possibly a cost savings for them if they wanted to bring that service over, or is that something that we want as a backup?
I can't say. I don't know what their budgetary structure is for their program. I will say that we collaborate with them very closely, and they theoretically could do that at a future date. I've never seen any indication that they intend on choosing that route.
Okay. I know a couple years ago we were speaking about employee counts. I think I recall actually one of your positions was a grant position years ago that the grant ran out, and the board decided that the position was necessary. And you decided to put it in your budget and pay for it with general fund dollars.
That's correct.
Is that the position that you had the increase?
No, I'm sorry. I was referring to one other. The position that you are referring to is our school safety coordinator position.
Okay.
The position I was referring to is an emergency management specialist position.
Specific to that position, has there been any dialogue at new grants coming back to compensate that position?
We've not identified any that would be able to do so.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Chair.
So, Brian, I got a question. So, Clinton Township, when they had their own emergency management program, what did they have funds set aside for their emergency management program?
I believe the only funds they had set aside for their emergency management program were the salary and benefit costs for the part-time individual that ran the program. And I believe they had funds set aside to maintain their outdoor warning siren system. That will remain their responsibility, and they will continue to do so. And then they'll do what they do with.
So it was advantageous for them to come to us, to join with us, because number one, that part-time position is no longer fundable. They're saving on. And they come to us, and we don't charge them anything.
They would be saving on the cost of that position, yes.
I would think that everybody want to jump in as long as there's a cost. Why? So what does it actually entail for Clinton Township, Warren, any of the municipalities to have their own emergency management program when we as a Macomb County government offer that? What's the advantage for them to have their own?
I think the advantage is being able to direct some of those activities locally and use the employee in the way that the locality sees fit, right? Because if they run their own program, they have a department, so to speak, or a person, and they can direct that person to do certain activities on behalf of the township or the city, up to and including things that are outside of the scope of what our emergency management program would cover. If you join us, we dictate the terms. That's what's in the agreement.
Makes sense. Okay, seeing no other speakers, I have a motion in support. Please vote. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 10 is public participation. This is the opportunity for public participation is for those people who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue germane to the county. Oh, everybody's leaving us. Everybody's running out. I don't see. I'm going to close public participation. I'm going to go into commissioners' comments. Anybody?
Me.
Commissioner Gorky, speak up.
They left already. I just wanted to give them an attaboy. Because of my nonprofit that I've been working with for years and years, it's a very important aspect of our county, and for it to step up like that, it's a great idea because there's a lot of duplications of services, and it goes back to your point about saving money. but there's a lot entailed into that, and the resources of the county being county-wide for it is the proper way to do it, especially because of the cost of those emergency radios, the way they handle that. And they do have the rig that can go around, you know, it's an emergency management, you know, it's like a camper, so that they got a command center is what it's called. So I'm very familiar with it because, you know, I set up that program a long, long time ago. And I've seen how it's progressed through that. So I can take a great appreciation in it, and I just felt like I wanted to share that with everybody so that it's a good asset.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners wish, anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall, supported by Commissioner Howard. Please vote.
Go ahead.
Motion passes 12-0.
Meeting's adjourned. Full board tomorrow.